How cats pulled off the greatest freeloading scheme in human history. If you ask a dog how it became humanity's best friend, it would probably give you a long emotional speech about loyalty, teamwork, and protecting the family. If you ask a cat the same question, the answer would probably be, I saw free food and moved in. And honestly, that's pretty close to what happened. Thousands of years ago, before cats ruled living rooms, before they dominated social media, and before they mastered the art of staring at humans like unpaid employees, cats were just small, wild predators wandering deserts and grasslands across the Middle East and North Africa. Back then, they lived completely alone. No packs, no teams, no cat meetings, no strength in numbers. A wild cat's life philosophy was simple. Trust nobody. Hunt everything. While wolves worked together to chase large prey, cats preferred the solo approach. They quietly stalked, waited, pounced, and repeated the process until dinner stopped moving. Humans barely paid attention to them. Ancient people had much bigger problems. There were wolves lurking beyond villages, bears wandering through forests, huge predators capable of turning a bad day into a very short day. Compared to those threats, a little striped hunter looked about as important as a squirrel with attitude. Nobody looked at these tiny predators and thought, one day this creature will control millions of households. But then, humans accidentally made a mistake. A very profitable mistake. Around 12,000 years ago, people started farming. Instead of constantly traveling in search of food, humans began settling down and planting crops near permanent villages. Civilization was born. Unfortunately, civilization came with storage. And storage came with grain. And grain came with mice. Lots of mice. An absolutely ridiculous number of mice. Imagine opening the world's first all-you-can-eat rodent buffet. That's basically what early farming villages became. Every grain storage building was a 5-star restaurant for hungry rodents. Mice multiplied. Rats arrived. The rodent population exploded like a biological startup company experiencing unexpected success. For ancient humans, this wasn't just annoying. This was dangerous. Lose enough grain, and people could starve during winter. Meanwhile, somewhere in the darkness, wild cats were watching this entire disaster unfold, and they loved every second of it. Picture a cat discovering that humans had gathered thousands of tasty little prey animals into one convenient location. To a wild cat, early villages looked less like human settlements and more like giant mouse vending machines. No long-distance hunting. No endless wandering. Food practically delivered itself. The bravest cats began sneaking closer. At first, they stayed hidden. They slipped through shadows. They hunted near grain stores. They appeared after sunset like tiny furry assassins. Then humans noticed something interesting. The mysterious little hunters were solving a major problem. Every night, fewer rodents. Every week, less stolen grain. The cats were essentially providing pest control services. And unlike dogs, which humans actively trained and partnered with, cats entered civilization through a completely different arrangement. Nobody signed a contract. Nobody exchanged handshakes. The agreement was simply, humans, please keep eating those rats. Cats, please continue creating rat-filled neighborhoods. Both sides were satisfied. Over thousands of years, cats that tolerated human presence gained easier access to food. Cats that remained terrified of humans missed out on the buffet. Slowly, generation after generation, natural selection favored the cats willing to live nearby. But here's where things get weird. Dogs changed dramatically during domestication. Their appearance changed. Their behavior changed. Their personalities changed. Cats, not so much. Modern house cats are still incredibly similar to their wild ancestors. In fact, the African wildcat looks so familiar that if one casually walked down your street, most people would probably assume it belonged to a neighbor. Your fluffy house pet is basically a miniature predator running ancient software. Think about it. Why does your cat stare at birds for 3 hours? Why does it attack moving strings like they're mortal enemies? Why does it ambush your feet under blankets? Why does it suddenly sprint through the hallway at 3 a.m., as if it just received classified military intelligence? Because the hunter is still in there. The instincts never left. Even playtime is hunting practice. That feather toy? Ancient hunting simulator. That laser pointer? Predator training program. That cardboard box? Nobody knows. Scientists are still investigating. Dogs evolved to work closely with humans. Cats evolved to tolerate us. There's a difference. Dogs ask, "How can I help?" Cats ask, "What exactly are you bringing to this relationship?" Many researchers even suggest that cats essentially domesticated themselves. Humans didn't carefully reshape them. Cats simply realized civilization was extremely convenient. Food everywhere. Shelter everywhere. Warm places everywhere. Humans opening doors. Humans buying furniture. Humans paying rent. It was an excellent business opportunity. As farming spread across continents, cats followed. Then humanity accidentally gave cats another incredible invention. Ships. Ancient ships carrying grain were floating rat hotels. Rodents infested cargo. They chewed supplies. They destroyed food. Sailors needed help. Cats volunteered. Well, volunteered might be the wrong word. Cats accepted transportation in exchange for doing what they were already doing. Soon, feline stowaways were crossing oceans and reaching entirely new parts of the world. Europe, Asia, Africa. Everywhere humans went, rodents followed. And everywhere rodents followed, cats collected employment opportunities. Eventually, some civilizations became completely obsessed with them. Ancient Egypt took cat appreciation to levels that modern cat owners would deeply respect. Cats became symbols of protection and household safety. They appeared in artwork, temples, and religious life. Families valued them so highly that losing one could be heartbreaking. Archaeologists have even discovered millions of mummified cats. Think about that. A desert hunter that once wandered alone had become one of the most respected animals in an entire civilization. And despite all this admiration, cats still behaved exactly like cats. Confident, mysterious, completely convinced they were in charge. That hasn't changed much. Even today, cats continue displaying behaviors inherited from ancient ancestors. When they need blankets, they're repeating motions learned as kittens. When they rub against your legs, they're marking you with scent. When they bring home a dead mouse, they're not necessarily giving a gift. There's a good chance they're evaluating your hunting skills. And the review isn't positive. Cats have even developed special communication for humans. Adult cats rarely meow at each other in the wild. Yet, around humans, they meow constantly. Over thousands of years, they figured out something remarkable. Humans respond to certain sounds. So cats started using those sounds strategically. Your cat isn't talking. Your cat is operating a highly successful customer support manipulation system. And somehow, it works. Today, hundreds of millions of domestic cats live alongside people around the world. They became one of the planet's most successful predators without building armies, forming packs, or following orders. Instead, they discovered something far more powerful: human civilization. Now humans spend money on luxury cat towers, heated beds, automatic feeders, electronic litter boxes, custom furniture, designer accessories. Meanwhile, the cat contributes approximately 3 minutes of affection before wandering away dramatically. And perhaps the strangest part is that cats still remain surprisingly independent. Many can survive without humans if necessary. Feral cat populations often return to behaviors remarkably similar to their wild ancestors within only a few generations. Most domesticated animals became deeply dependent on people. Cats simply became comfortable roommates. Dogs joined humanity as loyal partners. Cats joined humanity because the rent was free. Yet, somewhere along the way, that practical arrangement transformed into genuine companionship. And tonight, somewhere in your house, a descendant of ancient desert hunters is sleeping peacefully on furniture you paid for, inside a home you maintain, while remaining absolutely convinced that every square inch of the property belongs to them. To be fair, they might be right.